Preston, and welcome back to 4 more stroke yoga classes with Rachel Jarmusz. Rachel's been kind enough to do 4 already, and she's going to do 4 more, and we're forever grateful to her for that. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Rachel.
Okay, so we're making ourselves comfortable in our chairs, finding our sitting bones. You want to sit up nice and tall here. Give your shoulders a little roll up and then back with the out breath from the mouth. So like, let your shoulders settle and then close your eyes. As I was explaining, this is the root tone. The root chakra is at the base of the spine, which is the sacrum. It could be a little louder, it's very faint. That's better. Welcoming this silence now is kind of a nice, the tone is very subtle. Maybe could have been a bit louder if you like, but like I said, YouTube this 194 hertz, turn it up. It's a solid tone, kind of like when you turn on the radio and you're hitting just like a M sound tone that's just carrying. That's the idea of it, right? It's setting our frequency to that tone, which is very calming, very peaceful, very relaxing. You might yawn, you might start to feel sleepy. That's normal, right? That's the point of it. And then we move into silence here. Just taking a moment to notice. We're going to bring our attention into our sacrum. So your sacrum is the fused part of your spine. You have all your vertebrae that come down the spine. And then once you get into the pelvis, you have the sacrum, which is a fused part. It's like a triangle, right? And so this is our root chakra. This is what we call our root. This is where our energy begins, where our energy is housed in the body, where we want to get our energy moving up the spine, right? So closing your eyes here, rest your hands on your pelvis. And if you can, draw your thumb pads together, kind of right below the navel. So I'm just drawing my thumbs like thumb pad where you would give a fingerprint together, and then find your navel and come just a little bit below that and let your hands rest on your thighs, kind of at your groin area. And we're gonna breathe here. If you can, draw your pointer fingers together, almost as if you're making a diamond shape. Pads of the thumb together, pointer fingers together. Diamond shape, you're mimicking the sacrum, right? Here. And we're breathing our breath down deep. Now visualizing a clock here within the pelvis. You're going to take your attention from the navel, which is going to be 12 o'clock, down to the base of the sacrum, which is going to be 6 o'clock. So we're just going to move in one vertical line. 12, 6, 12, 6. You're creating stability in the pelvis, in the body, really, in the whole body, as we prepare to balance today, right? So with the mudra here, this is called a yoni mudra. It's actually like a feminine energy mudra that is really cool. It brings a sense of groundedness to our bodies, but also I'm using it here with the pelvic clock, which is a very common yoga therapy modality to bring balance and equilibrium to the pelvis, bring stability to the legs, the spine, the shoulders, the head, right? So just for our next maybe 2 minutes or 3, I'm not going to tell you how long we'll stay here, but we're going to move from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. From 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. From 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, we're going to make a clockwise motion here, to 6 o'clock, to 9 o'clock, and back to 12. So if you could imagine a clock sitting right here at my pelvis or at your own pelvis, we're moving from 12 to 3 to 6 to 9 and back to 12. Okay, so just close the eyes if you're not already there. We'll do it a few times here. And then we might move counterclockwise. So beginning at 12, take your attention to 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and back to 12. And from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, to 6 o'clock, to 9 o'clock, and back to 12. To 3 o'clock, to 6, to 9, to 12, to 3, to 6, to 9, and to 12. Pausing at 12, check in with your body, make sure that you're breathing. Of course, you're breathing because you're alive, but make sure that you're consciously breathing, right? That just means you're aware of your breath. You're noticing it. Moving from 12 o'clock to 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock to 3 and back to 12. To 9 o'clock to 6 to 3 and to 12. Nine o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 and 12. Allow your attention to rest on 12 and move back straight down to 6. And come back up to 12. And back down to 6. You're creating a line of energy from the navel to the base of the spine to 6. And then back up to 12. Rest your attention at 12. Bringing your attention down into your feet. Notice where your feet are in space here. If you have to look at them, that's fine. Look at them. We want to make sure here that we're going to be a bit outside of the hips, right? So if you're here within the hips or here with the knees together, give yourself a bit of space outside the boundary of your own hip. Find your sitting bones again. Sometimes they get lost under the meat or the muscles of the butt. That's normal. You can also like rotate the thigh open to find them. Give yourself a better placement down in your chair. And find your breath again. Taking that right ear towards the right shoulder here. Try to keep the pelvis stabilized here now. Sometimes it can be helpful to place the hands up onto the iliac crest here, the high point of your hip, and stabilize here as you move over, back to center, and then to the other side. Come to center, excuse me, and send your chin straight down. Let your head rest here. Press into your feet here and send your head forward and up. Take the chin as far forward as you want on that in-breath. And then exhale and release the head down, chin to chest. Almost like you're making a double chin face, right? Your chin holds into the chest a bit, which really then frees up the shoulders quite a bit and the upper back. Take a few heavy breaths there. Now from here, roll your head to the left shoulder. And roll through center to come to the right shoulder. Again, if stabilizing the pelvis is helpful, place the hands on the pelvis and roll. And roll like you're making a crescent moon shape. Now, after a few breaths like this, and you feel comfortable and confident, you could come around towards the back with the head, making a full circle. Check in on your breath. Make sure you're not holding anything. Make sure that nothing is working too hard here. And just let your body move with the eyes closed, effortless, easeful. At any point in your circles, switch the direction that you're going. I might suggest here that the mouth is closed and all your breathing is going to happen here through the nose and out the nose. And when you feel like you're through, you can pause and let the head rest with your gaze facing your knees, or even your gaze just slightly out in front of you. It's a nice way to breathe into the back body, right? The lungs are bigger in the back, which is something that I kind of feel like we forget often. We emphasize a lot on the front body and breathing, opening up, doing all back bends and that kind of thing. But the back body is where the lungs come lower and actually have more tissue. So we want to breathe our breath there. And by just looking down, or even, like I said, you don't have to come all the way down. Sometimes that makes people dizzy or hurts the neck. But you could just look slightly in front of you. Bringing your head back up to center. We're gonna pause here for a moment, and then we're gonna get moving a bit. So notice any sensations, check in with your body. Notice your feet. Notice the parts of you that are touching something. Maybe your butt, maybe your thighs, your feet. Your back might be rubbing up against something. Your hands might be touching your own lap. Notice the body. So nice and peaceful. It's nice to just sit in the silence, right? Silence is not really silent. It's full of lots of wonderful things. So our first pose for today is going to be a low lunge, right? Seated though, right? I think all of us know what a low lunge is. You could either be on your knees doing a lunge or at the wall, kind of bending into one knee with the back leg back. But today, we're safe in our chairs. We're going to play explore a bit, balancing on each leg. So to start with, make a really wide angle with your legs here and just start to drop one knee in and the other knee out. So you're gonna like do like a little like twist, like if you were dancing or something, you're gonna twist yourself out here, dropping one in and the other one out. In and out. In and out. We're just gonna stay here for a moment because this is a really nice way to open up the hips. If the knees are not quite turning as much as you like, that's okay. All you're really doing is pointing one in and then the other out, almost like windshield wipers, right? You're going back and forth, back and forth. Now this pose, like kind of everything that I teach, is gonna have a lot of variations, right? This is the first phase. So this is a phase that you can stay with, kind of just rotating. You can even do it manually with the hands, like coming in with the knee, out, and then in with the other knee and out, in and out, in and out. Or this is where I get kind of like maybe overwhelming for some people to hear all the options, but I like for people to know where they can go with their own body if you choose to, right? So if you want to drop all the way in, you can drop all the way in, down, almost like that knee is gonna touch the floor. Down and down. Down and down. Now, building a variation of the pose, right? You can stay with anything that we just did, or when you drop to one side, you're gonna stay there. And you're gonna look to the side that your leg is not dropped to. So the center leg here is gonna walk out a bit onto the side of the chair. You can be on the top of the foot, this leg that's down, on the top of the foot or on the toes. It doesn't matter, right? You can be on the toes, on the big toe, or you can flatten to the flat part of the top of the foot. You might want to try to do both if you can, or explore the body a bit to see where you can go with it, or simply stay, like I said, with the rounding side to side. But if we're coming into the lunge here, this is where the lunge starts to happen, is your front foot is out here. Your hands then come to this knee. Now you're gonna start to put weight on this front foot. If you can, lift your arms. Come up and look up and back. Come back down. Press your hands into this front foot. This is a really nice way to build balance on each leg, like individually, almost like you're gonna stand up, right? So you're like coming onto the leg, onto the leg, off the leg, onto the leg, off the leg, onto the leg, off the leg. One more on, one more off, and then go ahead if you want to take one more reach up, arch back if you like. And then down. Hands back to the knee. We're gonna rotate our bodies back to center and do the other side. Take that front leg out a bit to the side. It's almost like your legs straddling the chair. It's kind of nice to use a hand here to kind of like get yourself situated. Again, this back foot can be on the top of the foot or on the toes. Doesn't matter. And then just get yourself situated, right? You're gonna start to face the side and take the hands to the knee. Press down onto that front foot like you're leaning into it, and then come back. And then lean into it and come back. We'll do this 2 more times. Into the foot, into the leg, and off the foot. Last one here. Now is your chance if you want to raise the arms, look up, arch back. Beautiful, guys. And then exhale, come on down. Let your hands rest on the knee, pressing down, looking forward. Not only is this a good balancing moment for this front leg, but what happens here to this leg that's dropped is all of these muscles here stretch, right? Which often get very tight here through the groin, the not the hamstring, I always want to call this the hamstring, the quad, even down to the knee, right? So while you're sitting here, you're kind of like dropping this hip a bit to relax all of this. I would imagine that the psoas is stretching out here, lengthening down. We'll do one more stretch forward and then up, back if you want, or just reach forward. And then lower down to the knee. Let yourself pause for a moment. And then rotate yourself back through center. Take your time, stretching, moving. We're gonna let ourselves sit really wide and just feel the hips for a moment, right? Because we're waking up these guys, right? Which really give us our balance when we're balancing, like, let's say on one foot. We want all of these external hip flexors to really like suck in and hold up. Also the deep core, right? That psoas is a big part of our, excuse me, our balance component in the body. So you're kind of feeling here and feeling here. The psoas runs from that bottom rib down through the pelvis and attaches to your femur, which is the biggest bone here in our thigh, right? So if you could imagine there's like a line, some people refer to the psoas as like the tent poles. When you're putting up a tent, you have those long poles, right? That's your psoas. That's holding the body up from the inside, from the deep, deep, deep inside of your body, kind of like right here. So we're feeling that here. We're noticing that here, and we're breathing our breath there into those parts. Just breathing your breath. We're gonna do one more exercise here for balance. This is what I call kind of a warrior 3 modification, really only because it's training the body or cueing the body to balance on one leg, right? You might, I posted some pictures of warrior 3 today on a couple different social media platforms to show that the standard yoga model of warrior 3 is somebody freestanding, middle of the room, on one leg, arms extended forward. That's not what we're doing here. Billy, calm down. That's not what we're doing here. That is not a great visualization of warrior 3 because that's very hard. Only a very few amount of people can actually do that. And so how do you get the body to get there? Well, we practice building strength within the legs, right? So we are going to walk our feet into center, come in with the knees together, and start to walk. We're going to start balancing on our right. just because right is more dominant for most people. So we'll start there, then we'll move to the left. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start with the right foot pressing down and begin to walk this left leg to the side. You're gonna get as far to the side as you can come, and then you're gonna stop to the side, and then you're gonna slightly go back, right? So the idea here is that the hands are gonna come here into the center of the chair. You're gonna start to press here. This front leg is gonna move forward a bit, and this back leg is gonna kind of inch around that corner on the pad of the foot or the toes, whatever you can access there. And you're gonna practice. This is something I do in my privates with people that are working on getting up off the floor after a stroke and can't get down onto the floor as of yet. So we do one-legged sit-to-stands, which really is just warrior 3 in a modified way. So from here, you might press forward and come up and then down, right? You're using this front leg mostly. This back leg is kind of pressing you forward, maybe on the toes or the pad of the foot, but mostly is this front leg. So we can practice it a few times, coming forward, up, and then down. Nice. See, it's not so hard. It's not too hard to do, right? But what you're doing is you're reinforcing this guy to hold your weight. So let's do it one more time. Up, and now we're gonna stay up. Stay standing. Notice that back heel and put a little bend in this front leg if you can. You can kind of cue it with the hand. Bend that front knee and then straighten back. You might touch your chair back. And then bend and straighten back. This is our warrior 3. So if you wanted to do something that was like balancing here, you'd come off that back leg and reach forward, right? My leg is back here hanging out in space. Again, a very hard pose to do. I can do this on my non-affected side, but not on my affected side. So something to think about, something to practice, something to keep in mind. And then let's sit back down. Bring your legs back together, knees together, back to center. We're just gonna move into the other side. So same thing here to start, just the opposite leg. The left foot is gonna press down. The right foot is gonna start to move out to the side. You'll get to about here, and then you'll start to round that corner, coming in closer to the chair, maybe onto the pad of the foot or the toes. Hands come here, press into this front guide, lean yourself forward, lean yourself back, forward, and back. Now remember, you can always stay here. This is a balancing warrior 3. I would argue with anybody that wants to say, no, it's not. You're not even standing. Yes, it is. You're reinforcing this leg down, and this foot is slightly elevated. So you're shifting your weight here. Same thing as warrior 3, forward, off the back foot. Same thing, same thing. Now, if you want to stand up here and then sit back down. We'll do this 3 times. Up, down, and on our last one, we'll come up and we'll stay up. bending into that front knee and straightening that front knee back. You can play if you want to come, like I said, if I don't have anything in front of me here, I can't balance independently on this leg very well yet, but it's a heck of a lot better than what it was a few years ago. So you could like come to the toes of the back foot here, balance here, or go forward and lift the leg. Nice, Michelle. Nice, Rhonda. And then lower down and sit down. Walk your feet into center. Now we want to kind of let our hips relax a bit, right? Because what we're feeling is all of this area here, start to wake up, right? So your hips might be a little like, well, what did you just do to me? What's happening? So bring your knees all the way in, bring your feet all the way together. We're just gonna rock a little bit on the sitting bones, not even necessarily rock, but take weight here and then here, like a pendulum on a clock. Here and then here. And then bring the hands to the thighs and slide your hands forward. Come into like what we call our halfway lift, right? Hands on the knees, gaze is forward. You're gonna make your torso and your thighs come closer together by bringing the hands down to the shins, still looking forward, go down as far as you're comfortable. Maybe the belly rests on the thighs. Maybe you get to about here and you feel all that hip flexors start to tighten. Wherever you feel like that's your edge, stop there. Stop there, breathe, and just hold. Wherever you are, if you're comfortable, you can release the head down. You can let the shoulders come down. You might even touch the floor or the top of the feet. And then ever so slowly start to allow your head to look forward. Let your shoulders start to expand wide. And if you can, take one or both arms out to the sides and come on up. Bring the palms together, hold at a wrist, or just do one arm up, reaching, stretching your whole body here. We can take a moment to kind of like lean over. One arm maybe goes over, one arm can stay at the belly or the thigh, or you can hold, kind of let the elbows bend and round like a big O. Nice. Nice. Look up. And then exhale, come on down into the heart. We're gonna pause at the heart here. Let out a nice ha breath from the mouth. And begin our preparation for Shavasana. So again, like if you want to go lay down somewhere, If you want to recline back on your chair and extend your legs forward, put them up on a coffee table, put them up on a pillow, or simply keep yourself right where you're at and let your eyes close. Noticing here the tone. Breathe into it. Allowing your attention to come back to where we started, back to the sacrum, back to the root. We're just going to spend our last few moments here breathing into the spine, aligning the chakras, beginning with the root. The color of the root chakra is red. Visualize red. Safety, security, comfort. Moving into that sacral chakra, which is right kind of everything below the navel, but above the root. This is orange. Creativity. Sexual energy, also sexual organs, but mostly our passions and creativity, expression. Self-expression, rather. Moving into the solar plexus. The solar plexus are at the bottom rib cage to the navel. Yellow is our solar plexus, and yellow representing the sun or the center of our bodies. the fire kind of burning within. This is our metabolism, also our interaction with the world. So sacral is like self-expression, but solar is like interactions, what we're bringing into interactions with people around us, how we show up in those interactions. Are we like this? Are we like this? Are we strong here, right? It's like the center of your gut when you feel that something in the center of your gut feels off or whatever. They're talking about your solar plexus, the solar plexus. Breathe there. We've got red, orange, yellow. Moving into the heart. The heart is exactly what you think it would be. Love. All that we love. Really all that we are, because we're just beings of love. The color of our heart is green. So now we've got red, orange, yellow, green. Yes, they are the colors of the rainbow. Maslow's hierarchy. These things are all around us, right? What they don't tell you is they're also all within you. You don't need to look externally to see that rainbow. They're all right here. Red, orange, yellow, green. Then we come to the throat, blue. Close your eyes and visualize blue at the center of your throat. The throat chakra really isn't your voice, because your voice is coming from more of your diaphragm and your solar plexus, but your throat chakra represents your expression. What are you saying? What are you not saying? Those types of questions, right? From the throat, we go straight up to the third eye, that pineal gland. Which is indigo, a light purple. Visualizing our red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, all aligned. Last one here. Top of the head, crown chakra. They call it a crown because we're all wearing one, right? We're all royal, we're all divine. There's a crown on your head that is violet. So from this point, we're going to hold our heads as if we're wearing a crown. You know, like when they used to do those book balancing things with kids back in the day, that really was to align the spine. Yet they said that it was for posture, but what it's doing is it's aligning all your chakras. It's aligning the spine. So we want to sit here as if we're wearing a crown. Keep yourself balanced. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. Roy G. Biv, right? We all learned that in elementary school. We'll spend our last maybe minute or so here breathing that breath from the base of the spine up to the crown of the head and back down. The breath has a few patterns, right? One is an upward, one is a downward. We're breathing in, up, and down, out. Try and close your eyes here if you can, and just sit in as much stillness as you can find. Maybe taking your eyebrows up and then releasing them down. Taking the tongue to the roof of the mouth and then releasing it down. Taking the shoulders up to the ears and releasing them down. Letting go of any tension that you might be holding on to here. Very slowly bringing the hands into the heart center, palms together or interlocked, wherever you're comfortable. We'll close our practice here with a few heavy ha breaths out the mouth. Maybe a little head shake, like you're telling somebody no. No, 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 no. And then a nod, yes. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Namaste.